Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the City Club of Chicago, Commissioner Norma Reyes. Commissioner? Thank you. Now have some fun up here.
Unlike Hardick, no one took my presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I really wanted to do it without my reading glasses, but I'm at a point in my life, and I should be very proud, so I'm honoring it, that I must wear my reading glasses. Thank you, Mr. J. Doherty and the City Club for having me back again. This means another year of a free membership. I can't tell you how grateful I am since I have to take a lot of furlough days this year. You know, before I begin, and I promise not to get emotional, but before I begin, I want to acknowledge two people in this room. They're my foster parents, and that's retired Judge Patty McNamara and Barry McNamara. Please wave to everybody. They're at table one. They're both, just briefly, they're both lawyers, and I've never allowed them to come listen to me speak publicly because they also teach and they give me awesome critiques afterwards. But no, the one thing I wanted to say is when I met Patty and Barry, and that was when I was about 14 years old, Patty brought me home one weekend, and they were going to a black tie affair. And Barry, standing tall, and he had a handlebar mustache at the time and was rolling that handlebar mustache that he often did. And he wore a tuxedo, and he looked really great. And I'm a humble park girl, and so he came out, and I said, "Hey, mister, you're throwing some mean threads." And he looked at me and said, "Excuse me?" And Patty translated and said, because, you know, she's definitely multilingual, a little Spanish, a lot of English, and street slang at the time. And she said, you know, she's just telling you look really good. So he said, thank you. I just want to say, without you, I wouldn't be standing here. We've come a long way. Thank you. I want to acknowledge Mayor Daley for appointing me and having the confidence in me to lead this newly formed department. I also want to thank City Council for confirming my appointment. For the past 19 years, I've had the privilege, and I mean that, the privilege of serving the City of Chicago, and the last 8 years, the privilege of being part of the mayor's executive team. As you know, Mayor Daley is always looking for ways to improve government and make Chicago even a greater city. He has stressed time and time again the importance of Chicago being able to compete in today's global economy. Improving city services and resources, particularly in this economic climate, has been of great importance to the mayor. In 2007, the mayor created the 21st Commission to review the fundamental scope and structure of city government and to make recommendations on how we can better serve and how we can better govern. The basic question addressed by the commission was, given our limited resources, how do we build on our successes and take the next steps to assure that Chicago government continues to work for everyone, especially our businesses, working families, the poor, and others who need our support. In 2008, the commission presented a report with 64 recommendations. I will not go through all of them, don't worry. One recommendation, did you just applaud over there? Finally? Yeah, okay, Mr. Black. One recommendation was to consolidate the Department of Business Affairs and Licensing with the Department of Consumer Services. The merger of these departments should be viewed as the first step towards eliminating duplicate inspections, and the second step toward creating a one-stop shop for the business community we serve. The consolidation of Business Affairs and Licensing and the Department of Consumer Protection has saved the city budget $1.4 million this year. And in these rough economic times, when we have people who are poor and hungry, we need every dollar, every penny we can save. I'll have to tell you, my only problem with this merger is that the name of the department is really long. So I like to just call it for now BACP. There are some who have expressed to me, and actually some person in this room, an alderman maybe sitting somewhere from some ward here, who has expressed to me that this merger does not make sense. How can the city have a department that serves both businesses and consumers at the same time? Respectfully, I disagree. The merger does make sense. We both licensed businesses. We both inspected businesses. We both regulated businesses. And we both had outreach programs. And from a consumer perspective, think about this. The merger makes sense because, first, businesses are consumers. They are not who we traditionally view as consumers, but nonetheless, they are consumers. Secondly, good businesses are adversely impacted by individuals and businesses who defraud and prey on everyday consumers. Fraudulent practices take monies away from good businesses and places it in the hands of scammers. Moreover, these practices erode consumer confidence. Hence, it affects the business's bottom line. At this time, I would just briefly like to ask, now I don't want the whole room to stand up, but the members of the BACP team that are present, I can't do what I've been doing, we can't do what we've been doing without each other, so if you could just stand briefly and be acknowledged by everyone, I would just appreciate it. This is our mission. This is this team's mission. Our mission is to ensure a fair and vibrant marketplace for both businesses and consumers. We have traditionally done this by licensing Chicago businesses as well as the public vehicle industry. The BACP team licenses over 100,000 businesses a year. Well, we don't issue them every year, but we license over 100,000 businesses. These businesses are extremely diverse, from licensed retail stores, hospitals, manufacturing plants, public vehicles. Actually, we even license private ambulance companies. I see that Superior is here. Bars, restaurants, we even license street peddlers. We issue about 4,500 permits every year for use of the public way, for such things as sidewalk cafe and maintaining signs over the public way. Our team also protects businesses and consumers from unfair and deceptive practices. We act as a member of the city's cable commission and oversee TV operators and cable TV operators in Chicago to ensure that they're in compliance with all aspects of Chicago's cable franchise agreements. We provide businesses and consumers with information and education. But licensing and providing educational services and monitoring contracts is just not enough to meet our mission, particularly in these tough economic times. We must examine and re-examine what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. To quote a native Illinoisan, still the question recurs, can we do better? The dogmas of the quiet past are inadequate to the stormy present. The occasion is piled high with difficulty, and we must rise to the occasion. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew. Can we do better? You bet we can. Must we do better? Absolutely, and we will. The states, the cities, the country, the world's current economic condition demands that we do better. With unemployment rate at 9.4% in Illinois, and while home foreclosures are up 54% compared to last year, it is no surprise that we've seen a reduction in business licensing and issuing actually new licenses. In the first 4 months of 2009, we have seen a 14% decrease in new business license applications. We have seen a decrease in applications for the following license categories, as you can see in detail behind me. It's no surprise, real estate developers down, limited business down, home repair down, brokers down, retail tobacco down. However, we have seen an increase in applications for the following license categories: daycares up, secondhand dealers up, public garages up, retail food establishments up, and taverns Up 167%. What does this tell you? I think it's too early to tell, but clearly Chicago likes its alcohol. So let's talk about what we've done since the merger. To merge both departments with ease and without impacting services, we worked with KPMG to develop a merger and transition plan, which we began implementing February 1st. In developing this transition plan, we began to review and evaluate all our business functions in terms of both departments. We concluded the evaluation process in January, and for the past 3.5 months, we have been working on streamlining and consolidating our functions, all in order to provide our customers with improved services. Today, I will just highlight a few of these things that we've done since the first of the year. If I start talking about everything we've done, you will be here all night. Since I began as commissioner of this department, many in the business community, this is my favorite, have asked me, directly or indirectly, what is your regulatory philosophy? Someone came and saw me and said, you know, there are a lot of businesses coming in the hospitality industry, and you know they don't know you and they want to know what you're like. And so basically they've been asking me, are you going to regulate like Winston Martis, or are you going to regulate like Scott Brunner? For those of you who know what I'm talking about, I see that you're chuckling. But let me say this is important, because one should not lose sight, and I can assure you that I will never lose sight of the fact that our department is both a regulatory agency and a public safety agency. So let's talk just a little bit about my view on regulatory enforcement. As I see it, there are three types of philosophies: strict, creative, and accommodative. Some regulatory bodies only embrace one philosophy. I, on the other hand, believe that in order to truly be effective, the most effective regulatory agency and the most effective regulator embraces all three. Needless to say, it is a challenge. It is a challenge to balance all three and to embrace all three. However, we, the mayor, have always been committed to ensuring that our regulatory schemes make sense, that our regulatory scheme serves their purposes and do not needlessly burden businesses, consumers, and or government. In January, I began meeting with aldermen, actually as early as November, when I believe it was when I was announced. Alderman Tunney, Alderman Daley, Chairman Schulter. Actually, we're the first three aldermen that came to see me, and I'm glad to see you in the room. I don't know if that's good or bad for me. And so I initiated discussions with business organizations, chambers, the Illinois Restaurant Association, because I wanted to gain an understanding of the barriers they face when doing business with the city. We want to hear from our customers' perspective which ordinances and city requirements are overburdensome and don't make sense. We want to hear from our customers' perspective which city programs are working or not working. When a regulatory agency does not invite conversation and discussion on the issues that are faced by those we regulate, and when it does not include all the stakeholders while developing these regulatory schemes, that agency will come up with lopsided plans that will have an adverse impact on businesses and consumers and government. It will cost all of us money. That is the bottom line. It will cost all of us money one way or the other. So, what do businesses want from government? I believe businesses basically want three things: predictability, clarity, and simplicity. Predictability. Our business customers should know what to expect. They shouldn't have to guess. They shouldn't have to have an inspector go one day and find some violations, then have another inspector go the next day and find violations that could have been discovered. Second, clarity. We should make things easier to understand. Lawyers write ordinances. People run businesses. It is important that businesses understand that these city ordinances and departmental rules and regulations, so that they can comply with them. You can't comply unless you understand what is expected. And it is important for us and part of our function to make clear what our regulatory expectations are. And lastly, simplicity. It should not be difficult to deal with government. You shouldn't have to run through a maze where there's no way out. There should be a door in and a door out. And it is this department's job, hopefully, or part of our function, to create that. It should be fast and easy to deal with government agencies. 5 years ago, I created an advisory group for the taxi cab industry. Not only did it help me, it helped our consumer service team tremendously in understanding the needs and unique business group, although I have some colleagues that hate meetings. It has also provided the taxi cab industry a place to vet the issues that confront their industry, and more importantly, to develop solutions to support the industry's growth. Having said that, this month, we launched the development of 3 advisory groups: the Small Business Advisory Group, the Retail Industry Advisory Group, and the Hospitality Advisory Group. So it's clear, my intention is not to create a group that meets and accomplishes nothing. These will be result-oriented and solution-oriented working groups. Each group consists of representatives from from their respective industries, as well as the following elected officials: the City Treasurer's Office, Alderman Schulter's office is chairman of the Licensing Committee. The Department of Buildings is involved, procurement is involved, health is involved, environment is involved, community development is involved, Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities is involved, and so is the city's law department. Each advisory group will have the subcommittees listed behind me, which will be led by a chair or co-chair. In addition, the Small Business Advisory Group will have a lending and access to capital subcommittee. The Retail Advisory Group will have a licensing and enforcement subcommittee. The Hospitality Advisory Group will also have a workforce solutions subcommittee and a venue development subcommittee. And just a footnote before I go on, these groups are serving in an advisory capacity. They are not decision makers. For the lawyers in the room who are familiar with the Opens Meetings Act or the aldermen, the elected officials, I must say that and make that quite clear. They're not open to the public. They don't have decision-making capacity. They are there to advise. Together, we can help businesses and entrepreneurship thrive in Chicago by identifying barriers for current businesses and startups. Together, we will improve our services by developing rules and regulations. And I can assure you, many rules and regulations do not currently exist in the business arena in the Department of Business Affairs for many of the businesses and industries we regulate today. As I mentioned, one of our top priorities is to improve customer service and streamline services. We have organized our business center differently. This is something that we've done in the past couple months. We have formed a hospitality team and a retail general business team. With this change, we hope to assist businesses with their specific needs and concerns instead of everyone being under the same group. Another way to improve services to our customers is we're moving the public way use permitting office, currently located at the Paul Center, to City Hall. You know, we talk about a one-stop shop. If we license them at City Hall on the 8th floor, we shouldn't be sending them to another facility to get their permits for public way use. But I figured that would get some applause. No. By September 1st, we will provide our business customers with one-stop shop for both, I just said that, for the permitting needs. Let's talk a little bit about a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Remember, we regulate, and that's enforcement. Let me tell you something that we're doing with enforcement. By consolidating our inspection departments and cross-training our staff, we will minimize the number of businesses from city inspectors. We will decrease the number of visits you have from city inspectors, and that is our goal here. Our objective is to provide effectiveness and compliance and enforcement function that supports over 83,000 investigations a year. Issues with multiple inspector visits has been a consistent issue. Therefore, we have also been working not only with our department, but we've been working with other departments to develop consistency in the city's inspectional practices by setting and sharing inspectional standards, not only with each other, but more importantly with our customers. Moreover, we know that continuing training is important so that we can have predictability in terms of enforcement. Another way we are improving services to our customer is to strengthen our ties with other city departments. In June, we will be providing businesses with dedicated staff to address one of the most critical elements when they do business in Chicago, and that is zoning. We're always telling customers, go check your zoning. Currently, we don't do zoning review within our department, but thanks to the help of Patty Scudero, her collaboration and support, we are in the process, and we began in early April, of doing intensive training to 2 current staff members at our department who will be trained for the zoning reviewer function and will be able to do that function in our department without Patty losing any staff. And then we can stop having our customers run from one place to another. Again, all towards that goal of the one-stop shop. And I have to tell you, I thank Patty Scudero for being such a collaborator. We are also working with the Department of Buildings and the Health Department to create greater collaboration between these 2 departments in their respective public safety inspectional roles. Buildings and Health have identified internal business practices that, when changed, and they will change, will expedite the process for businesses applying for building permits which require a building to have a health or building or health plan review. There are a number of other efficiencies, but you'll just have to invite me back because I need another year's membership. BACP is also working with the Department of Revenue to review debt collection data to ensure that our business customers are not receiving bills or license holds for debts they do not owe. This is a massive endeavor. However, with the collaboration of B. Raina Hickey, the Director of Revenue, we are committed. She's committed, I'm committed, both our departments are committed to tackling this initiative to assist our business customers, more importantly, to increase our customers' confidence that they are not being billed and credited and credited only for what they owe, because that seems to be some complaints we've been getting. So let's move on to another area I oversee, public vehicles. The Public Vehicle Division regulates 6,900 taxi cabs for hire, 6,900 medallions. As part of the city's efforts to improve air quality, we have been actively working with the taxi industry to find alternative fuel vehicles. Currently, there are 94 hybrids on the street of the city of Chicago. With the Department of Environment, we have been working to identify locations for compressed natural gas vehicles. This year, with the help of Howard Henneman from Fleet, we were able to introduce, and City Council passed, an ordinance that allows us to continue working in this endeavor by giving us the ability to test emerging alternative fuel technologies, such as neighborhood electric vehicles as taxi cabs. They're called NEVs. These vehicles have the potential to be used as taxi cabs because they're relatively low in cost, low in speed, and will benefit passengers looking for short trips in heavy traffic. That is why we're launching this program to test the NEVs. By the end of the summer, we'll have 10 electric cabs will operate in the downtown area. This will allow us to analyze the viability and comfort and reliability of these vehicles. If NEVs are successful, then we will introduce more. The one thing about NEVs is that the fully electric vehicle eliminates all emissions. They eliminate all the emissions, unlike the Crown Vic. A Crown Vic, if it operates 55,000 miles a year, that's 40 tons of greenhouse gases that are emitted into the air. A hybrid Escape driven 55,000 miles in a year, it emits 23 tons. A Prius, 14.7 tons. But again, a fully electric vehicle eliminates all emission. Reliable transportation is challenging for people with disabilities. In 2003, there were only 60 wheelchair-accessible vehicles on the street. Today, there are 90. This is a 50% improvement. And I asked myself, is this an improvement? Yes, there's 50% more. Is the current state of affairs acceptable? Absolutely not. Cabs, like every other industry, face financial challenges. Accessible cabs cost more. However, we are committed to having every taxi cab in Chicago be wheelchair accessible for our public. This is why, since becoming the commissioner overseeing the taxi service in Chicago, I, along with taxi cab regulators across the country, challenge on the national level the taxi industry to work towards developing a purpose-built vehicle. And that is a vehicle designed for the sole purpose of use as a taxi cab, kind of how they have the London taxi. And to keep in mind all end users, the cab owners, because they have to pay for them, they have to fix them. The drivers, they have to drive in them. And more importantly, our passengers that require wheelchair accessibility. Tomorrow, I, along with the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities, will be at the Rehab Institute, where a company aptly named Standard Taxi will unveil a prototype of a purpose-built vehicle. So I'm very excited that that's happening tomorrow. One of the ways that we incentivize, increase, and improve service to people with disabilities in the taxi industry is by recognizing drivers that have shown a commitment and outstanding service. For the past 6 years, the city has awarded 2 taxi cab medallions each year to taxi cab drivers who have demonstrated exemplary commitment to people with disabilities. Currently, medallions are worth $170,000. So in essence, we're giving them a small business. And the winners are required to use the awarded medallion as an accessible cab. This year, we're doing something a little bit different. With a company called Bruno Independent Living Aids, with the medallions that we award, this company manufactures equipment to serve disabled passengers and has donated mobility solutions equipment to install in the tube. Because here's the challenge. I mean, here's the bottom line challenge. Wheelchair accessible vehicles as taxis, very costly to convert, very costly to convert. As I said, we only have 90 cabs in the city. But one of the things about our fleet I want to tell you is we have approximately 92% of the people, the calls that come in do get served. In 2004, there were only about 20,000 or so calls for service. Now we're up to about 35,000 calls for service, and I think that it is a testament to the work that the taxi industry has done to focus in on the needs of people with disabilities in terms of the use. I mean, again, is it perfect? No. Do we need to improve? Yes. Are we going to continue working on it until every cab is accessible? Absolutely. Well, the thing about the Bruno product is that it just provides an alternative. Not everyone needs a fully equipped wheelchair accessible vehicle. They may be able to use the equipment that Bruno provides. And if we see that that this works and that there is a need, then potentially we will require this type of a solution in more cabs. That way we totally free up those fully wheelchair accessible vehicle taxi cabs for those people who need that level of service. Okay, I'm getting towards the end. Something I'm very passionate about is consumer fraud and protection. I'm not passionate about fraud. I'm more passionate about protection. I think I got that right, Barry, didn't I? All right. You know, there's so many types of fraud that we prosecute, but I just want to tell you about a couple cases. As you know, mortgage fraud has been rampant throughout the country. BACP has filed a number of cases in this area, including cases against mortgage companies, real estate professionals, and a condo management company. The cases against the real estate professionals involve the type of behavior that put this country into crisis and put homeowners into mortgages they couldn't afford, just so brokers could make some money. The condo associated management company, they promised to manage a condo association's funds, and they siphoned some of the funds. The case against the real estate agent involves identity theft, where the agent used a client's name for her own benefit and purchase a home without the knowledge of the client. We have a strong commitment here, and if you can, just to sort of give you an example, in the state of Illinois filed last year 22 cases on mortgage fraud against individuals who committed mortgage fraud. We filed 8, so I think we're doing very well statistically, okay? In these cases, we've obtained $100,000 in fines and restitution for our victims. And we even were able to get pro bono lawyers for some of our victims, so on and so forth. The victims were elderly couples, single mothers, first-time home buyers. So this is an area that I'm very, very proud of in terms of the work that we do to protect the consumers in the city. The merging of the two departments has also allowed us to expand our outreach and education efforts to reach both businesses and consumers. This division, business support and education, is one of the most vital components, I think, of our department. It's going back to the point that the businesses we serve need to understand what it is that they need to do. We need to develop information for them so that they can avoid the maze and go through the door. So we have a program called the Small Business Certificate Program, where we've partnered with city colleges, and we provide people who are interested in starting up businesses with a certificate. Businesses need 2 critical things to succeed: access to financing and a solid business plan. So this March, we launched what we call Solution Station in our Department of Business Affairs over on the 8th floor. And what we do with this program is we put businesses directly in touch with professionals that can help them develop their business plan or help them find holes in their business plan, and also try and help them identify financing sources. 2 days a week, volunteers, our partners from SCORE and Acción, are available to talk to these businesses. And so far, this March 1st, we've been able to serve and give help to about 75 small businesses in the city. This year, our business education workshop that we offer twice a week has seen a 62% increase in attendance from last year. 60% of those people attending our workshops represent the service industry, and 30% represent the retail industry. These seminars, again, they assist entrepreneurs by connecting them with not only government agencies, not-for-profit agencies, but financial resources like Harris Bank. Judy Rice in the house. We should say hello and welcome to her. But one of the biggest challenges is technology. At this point, my PIO said, make a joke because everybody's going to be tired. And where is she? Efrat, where's my PIO? Okay, Efrat, that's my joke. Okay, moving on. When we talk about technology, when I get flustered. I just got a BlackBerry. I didn't want to get one because it's corporate America's answer to downsizing. Okay? So, but I got my BlackBerry. I now finally figured out how to do it. I just don't know how to text yet. But anyway, so I could imagine, particularly business owners, small business owners, how they feel, and they're intimidated by the mere words, use of technology. But they need it to sustain, to grow, and to effectively compete. They need it. In 2006, the mayor appointed the Mayor's Advisory Council on Closing the Digital Divide. My partner here from Do It, the lead man on this project, you heard all about it when he was here. There was a lot of recommendations, but in the report it said the most important recommendation of this council, in some ways, is the most difficult to implement. Focus on changing mindsets. We need to focus on changing mindsets. Potential new users must see the value in connecting to the network, and providers, the providers that are out there, okay? And the providers of applications, contact goods and services must see the value in attracting and serving these users. Particularly now, think about it in this bad economy, okay? There is a base out there. There are people out there who need your services if you can tailor it down to them and not just look for that humongous contract that's going to get cut anyway. We are planning a first ever event on October 1st at UIC Forum to connect business owners with today's technology. At a time when we're all doing more with less, technology is the solution. We hope to help businesses better understand the type of technology that's available today that will improve their efficiency and or help market their business with an eye towards enhancing their bottom line. This event will also provide our local technology companies an opportunity to showcase their business products. So it's a win-win. You might get some customers out of it. So in closing, we are working hard to serve Chicago's businesses. As you can see, there is a lot on our plate in this department, but I can tell you and I can assure you, we are up for the challenge. My goal as the commissioner is to build business and protect consumers and do my part to make Chicago the best city in the world for entrepreneurs and consumers. The department, BACP's team's commitment to you is to provide you predictability, clarity, and simplicity in all our affairs. Thank you.
We have time for a few questions, passing among you. By the way, we forgot to introduce Roger Martinez from Quantum Crossing, sitting at the head table. There you go. Give Roger a call. And before we go to the first question, since I'm known in the circle as Mr. Acronym,
Okay.
and I agree with you that I think you should call your organization Business Affairs and Consumer Knowledge. That way you're back.
Oh, look at the guy.
You
Bad idea.
You thought I got this job in a lottery, eh? It's typed question I've ever seen.
Oh, my God. I must be in trouble.
Is this from Kevin Black? A typed question? Very good. Most people write. Is this a question or is this a thesis? All right. I will. Here's the question. Is there anything we can do to make sure that your office is given the proper resources in this area of staff and resource cuts and is allowed to keep helping out those who need help from people who want to take advantage of the little guys? By the way, this is a precedent. I no longer read handwritten questions, only type. There you go.
Yes, actually, there is something that you can do. I have stood up here and talked a lot about what we're willing to do. And what I have found in dealing with businesses, particularly of late, since I'm also the local liquor control commissioner, is that your emergency becomes my emergency. Your lack of planning, and I'm not saying necessarily people in this room, but there's people's lack of planning that create emergencies for us. And so what that does, it takes resources away from other things that we have to do. The bottom line is, I'm not going to ask for more staff. I'm going to figure out how we can work smarter. I mean, we just have to. And I can't ask for more staff in this economy. I just want to keep the staff we have because I know that we can do the job, and we are up for this time of consequence. We are up for it. But the things that you can do is, plan. Make your calls ahead of time. But what we can do is to help you in that process. So that's what you can do. Instead of saying, make a phone call here, make a phone call there, that's not going to help me get more resources, I can assure you. What's going to help me is that you run your businesses better, you give us more information, you give us a heads up, we collaborate and have more communication. But thank you for the question, Mr. Black.
Going. On behalf of the City Club, we want to thank you for your presentation. And yes, what you were really after, we have it here. Another one-year membership to the City Club.
Okay, thank you.
You can see why she's in consumer protection. And the history of the city. How many books do you have of these?
Not enough.
There you
no,
go.
I'm kidding. I'll donate it. No, I'm kidding. Here's I do have a lot.
And
my mug.
When you have your staff meetings, and by the way, there will be a quiz on all the commissions, subcommittees, and advisory committees. Passing grade will be a 3. Here we go. A city, first time I've ever seen it, untouched by human hands, a City Club of Chicago mug. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Norma,
much.
great job.
Thank you very much.
And remember tomorrow, all you potential felons, we have Patrick Fitzgerald. We are adjourned.